And now the pressure is really on for both of these two. Frost, the final map, a big 4-player spawn map. Well, this honestly could go either way as far as I'm concerned. Both of the two players have shown the potential to do it, and both of the players have shown that they can win. Spawning in the top left, having a bit of a rough game, map number 1, but bringing it back in the second. Will momentum be on his side and allow him to take victory and advance to the quarterfinals? It's Dignitas's Tefel. And his opponent, to the lower right, winning map 1. Map 2 was close, but just falling back a bit after, again, a failed cannon rush trying to prevent the gold base of Tefel coming down. Is he going to cannon rush a third game in a row? We'll find out. It's Stardust. Now, I say, is he going to cannon rush a third game in a row? He won't. He shouldn't. Can he be possible? Because, for a start, pylon up in the high ground. Very rare to see a forge expand with a cannon up in the high ground. Secondly, full spawn position, so you don't know where your opponent is. Thirdly, it's a big map. It would take forever to get a probe over there, even if you knew where your opponent was. And lastly, he's just built a freaking Nexus. No cannon rushes, ladies and gentlemen. Stardust is going to have to find a new opening. Tefel, though, he's playing it the same. Pull into hatch. It's safe, it's good. Maybe it will be beautiful. You never know. Anyway, Stardust, Nexus first, into gateway. Normal build, being quite greedy, but safe to do so on this map. Frost has a narrow entrance to the natural, as I try and bring it up there. Narrow entrance, so easy to wall off. And as a result, because it's a big map, it's virtually impossible for Tefel to apply too much pressure unless he was going for a very greedy build, which frankly is unlikely, because if he was doing that, it'd be quite all in on this map, and all in game 3 of a best of 3 single elimination takes a very ballsy move. Anyway, gonna probably be seeing now a fairly passive mid-game, or at least way into the mid-game, because neither player opting for anything too aggressive as of yet. Stardust has shown a favoritism towards getting that Stargate down nice and early, and he's had success with it. The Phoenix have really been a massive tool in Stardust's arsenal to try and prevent the drone count getting too high, or allow Tefel to really do whatever he wants. But this is going to continue, actually, because Stardust throws down that Stargate yet again. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Phoenix again. However, because it's down nice and early, may very well be an Oracle. It just really depends exactly how Stardust is feeling. Sorry for getting a bit distracted there, by the way. I just noticed that my stream flashed up that I was dropping frames. Not sure why, not my end. Please let me know if that's actually coming through to Twitch side and if it's causing anyone a problem. Anyway, things not too exciting yet. Phoenix are going to be coming down though, and that's where it's really going to be picking up. Because these Phoenix, as I've said, have been utilized so well by Stardust throughout this series, that if he continues along that same track with them, able to gain the same wins, the same advantages through them, he should get himself into a solid spot. Tefel getting denied scouting, but it isn't the end of the world, because guess what? He knows Phoenix are out. That's already a big giveaway of exactly what Stardust has been doing. So Tefel now only really has one thing to do, and that's get up into lair and get Hydras down nice and fast. They're the best response to these Phoenix. Roach Hydra is the composition that Tefel has opted to use every game this series, and it's the right one. It will work well. It's now really up to Stardust to make sure Tefel has no choice but to stay back and defend for as long as possible by really applying pressure with these Phoenix effectively. and teching up behind it to work out what kind of later game strategy he's going to utilize to prevent those roach hydras being too effective. With robotics facility coming down, it's likely to be those colossi. Stardust has used them every game so far. Quite a few drones actually getting taken down here at the moment by these Phoenix. 4 worker kills. Tefel hasn't killed anything as of yet. 100% cost efficiency coming out from Stardust here. And because of this, Tefel, well, it's so little, Tefel doesn't really have to worry, but he doesn't want to lose too many more drones if he can help it. 4 drone kills isn't the end of the world, but if that starts becoming 8, 10, which it rapidly can, you start to notice it. That's when you start to feel, I've not got as much income as I'd like to have right now. I'm a bit short, I'm getting a bit behind, but oh my goodness, a Nidus network! I cut myself short because that is not something you see every day. But Stardust, he does see it. Maybe not every day, but he sees it this day. And that means he knows what's coming. A Nidus on a huge map like Frost is an inspired move. Because once he chucks down a Nidus network, he can eradicate that massively long reinforcement distance to basically the same as what Stardust could have with Warpins. That means that any pressure could be massive. There's also a very large main base where a Nidus worm could try and sneak on through, but Stardust making sure that there aren't any overlords nearby to prevent that from happening. More Hydras, more Zerglings coming out now from Tefel, who's at 58 drones, so not fully saturated yet, but down comes the Nidus. Unfortunately, Stardust sees it with his observer and will shut it down easily. This isn't going ideally yet for Tefel, and Stardust is just going to be so alert to it because of scouting it ever so early. Another attempt for another Nidus is going to be required, and that's exactly what Tefel is doing. Building it a little further back, but far enough back that if Stardust were to move out, he'd be exposing himself to a lot of open space where force fields wouldn't be effective and surrounds could quickly be achieved. Third base now cancelled. Stardust knows that he would have absolutely no chance to defend that, and Tefel responds with another Nidus worm. Couple of Hydras coming up the side yet again. Not really a significant flank, and Stardust able to zone out most of this army with some really good force fields. He's ideally waiting for a second Colossus to hit. That's where he gets a notable amount of splash damage and can start really working through this. Couple of Queens coming with this army. Tefel has access to transfuses. Second Colossus now here. The sentries starting to get picked away fairly fast. While the Zealots are tanking up some of the damage, they're quickly disposed of, and Tefel keeps pressuring forward. 4 Queens here now. Energy on them is decent. More transfuses going to be used, but the key thing that Tefel's achieved from this is denying the third base for a significant period of time. Phoenix looking to harass, but Hydras being moved back to the main base using that Nidus network. Beautiful control out of Tefel for now. And if he keeps this up, I think he's got the advantage. The longer this third base isn't taken, the worse things get for Stardust. His main will start getting low. He'll start hurting for income, and he'll be struggling to get out that later tier tech consistently and at a large enough scale to actually keep up with Tefel's production. Nidus Worm has now been taken out, and this should lead to Stardust feeling confident to take his own third base yet again. Securing that up really has to be his priority if he wants this game to go on much longer. Alternatively, he can just move forward and look to end the game here and now. But it's if Stardust feels that he has got enough to do that. And I personally don't think he does, and it looks like Stardust agrees with that. Chucks down the Nexus, gets his third resecured, but this is all giving Tefel time to start up his hive, look to go into Vipers again, and just build up an even larger army. A couple more Overlords are getting picked off, a few more drones die. Tefel's drone count's still pretty low, only sitting at 56 at the 14.5 minute mark, which is a bit under where probably most professional Zerg players would want it to be. But what Tefel's got from having that lower drone count is a lot larger army on the ground. He's also been harassed consistently with these 5 Phoenix, having lost 13 workers so far this game. As the game goes on though, and as Hive Tech starts coming into play, really that's where Tefel has no choice but to start looking towards getting a few more drones out. Otherwise he won't be able to afford to maintain that Hive Tech army over a longer period of time. Talking of longer periods of time though, Tefel not looking too keen on seeing that. Moving across the map with the bulk of his army, nearly maxed out. He's up by around 40-ish supply, or was. But the Colossi are still here, and there's no answer to them. No Vipers, no Corruptors. Stardust takes out the Nidus Worm, preventing quick reinforcements, but a nice flank from Tefel means that a mass recall has been forced. Stardust now torn between his third and his natural to defend. Neither is in a particularly comfortable spot against this many units. And now it's up to the Colossi to dish out as much damage as possible. The gateway support though, incredibly limited, and the force fields have to pay this army back, has to make sure that it gives Stardust time to keep trading. With only the Hydras remaining though, they are going to get slaughtered by this many Colossi, forcing them back. Stardust was able to keep his third base, and while his probe count is only at 54, Tefel only has 56 drones. The Vipers are now coming, but he lost a lot there. Overall resources lost, Tefel losing about twice as much as Stardust so far. And of course with that, it kind of makes up for the fact that Stardust hasn't been mining from this third yet. It means that while he has not got a good economy, or not as good of an economy as Tefel, he's got more money anyway because he hasn't had to spend it as much on reinforcing. Add in these High Templar now, and the feedbacks are going to become a key thing. Stardust saw the Hive morphing, knows that Vipers are going to be on the cards, and if he gets the feedbacks onto those Vipers, he can stop any good abducts coming down. If he misses those feedbacks though, the Vipers are going to grab these Colossi, pull them into the main Roach Hydra force, and they will get destroyed exceptionally fast. So a lot of this control is going to come down to the spellcasters. Which player is able to use either their High Templar or their Vipers more effectively, and if you can do that, you're probably going to win these following trades. Big move forward here by the High Templar, but Viper's gone in high ground vision, allow it to get sniped off quickly. These little poke and prods from Stardust, surprisingly effective for him. Gonna mean that the army gets weakened up. Some good feedbacks on 2 of those Vipers, precisely what Stardust was looking for. Photon Overcharge comes down on the Nexus, and this mass of Colossi just shredding this army. The Thermal Lances, like they're going through butter, and GG is called. Stardust takes down Tefel 2-1 in this best of 3 and advances into the semi-finals. Sorry, the quarter-finals.